The Museum of Religions and Islam tells the story of Abrahamic religions in an innovative way, featuring state-of-the-art technology, including video mapping, holography, and innovative design techniques. Founded with the works collected by historians and artists, the museum aims to narrate Abrahamic religions in an interactive and unique way. The museum is a pioneer for its use of technology. The project vision to enhance visitor experiences and offerings through information apart from culture and country borders. Mankind has always questioned its existence. Before Abrahamic religions, there were ancient beliefs such as Egypt, Maya, and Greece. There was a need of belief, symbols, worshiping fire and the sun. In this section, it is being told that the religion of Islam has existed since the birth of Adam and Eve. After the ancient religions that started with Adam and Eve, when Noah's flood was questioned, Saint Abraham burned for 40 days in the fire of Nimrod. The Quran mentions a flower garden in Nimrod where it says, Abraham lived there. In front of this field, Saint Abraham is seen leaving his wife and child in a tent in the middle of the field. Saint Abraham's wife mentioned that he said, I have to go. I'm on a path to the way of God. His wife says, if you are going in the way of Allah, He has definitely thought the best for us. That's where the phrase, for the cause of good, comes from. The sacrifice of Abraham's son, his youth with Pharaoh, becoming a prophet, discovery of his identity and understanding of being Jewish, and biography of the Red Sea are told. In the expression of every true religion, there is a landmark symbolizing that religion. In the museum design, while content and information are provided as digital books from landmarks, the holy books of religions are exhibited. The Star of Israel is three-dimensional, and its book Torah. In the chapter of Saint David, his book of Psalms is seen. 4 Bibles are exhibited in the cross-plan structure, and Saint Mary, Saint Jesus, and his life on the way to becoming a prophet are told. After the period of ignorance, the next hall tells the story of Islam and the Prophet Muhammad's life. The landmark of the Islam religion is Mount Hira, where the Holy Quran and Gabriel called the first action of red. The life of the Prophet Muhammad, Islam, his preaching, the conquest of Mecca, the assassinations against him, and his farewell sermon are told in this hall, which has a greater area than the other halls. With the belief map, the spread of religions in the world are explained. The place where Christianity and Judaism spread in the world are shown. The narrative of this hall is purely mapping interactive formations. The moment of Adam and Eve's formation from the earth and the eating of the first forbidden apple will be visually experienced by the visitors. For all ages from 7 to 70 can be informed and have intensive experience in this museum. With dedicated children's area, every hall, the history of religions is explanatory with interactive exhibits. The museum provides an interactive and information-oriented virtual library experience. Visual information flow is provided to children, especially with illustrations and narration of Noah's flood. As being described in the Quran, Saint Abraham's burning in the fire of Nimrod has been virtualized. Within the scope of visitor experience, a rose can be sent to Saint Ibrahim via digital touchscreens. The reason why it is a rose that is a rose is mentioned in the Quran. There is a flame effect in the rosewood, and reflections can be seen from the mirrors hanging above. We will see the reflections from the hanging mirrors here. The story of the ground floor is Saint Ismail stamps his foot on the ground due to his suffering and dehydration. At that exact moment, Zamzam water gushes from the ground. The belief even can stop time with an abstract concept. Ram horn, dagger descending from the ceiling, the reenactment of Saint Abraham's sacrifice. The life of Saint Moses and his youth with Pharaoh come along. Rather than presenting the prophets as silhouettes, it has been visualized as an abstract concept simply with light. When the interactive screen is touched, the Red Sea and the light intensity originating from Saint Moses can be seen. We do not have to make prophets as human skeletons. It can be explained with a slightly more abstract concept. Only lights can be explained. An installation of the 10 Commandments written by fire on tablets and rocks are displayed. Here are the areas with 3D representations. In this section, the story of Israelites building the golden calf and not waiting for Saint Moses. In this specific area, the holy chest and the Psalms landmarks can be seen. It is told that Saint Moses broke the curses by rebelling. When you look at this Torah landmark, you can get more information. What is meant by Goliath is, no matter how weak you are, or no matter how strong the power is against you, as long as you believe and pray, the evil can do no harm. In the interactive children's area, the equivalence of faith and power is explained. The story of Saint Mary and Jesus' life are being told through displays in the Christianity Hall. Miracles come in every form. How was life on earth at the time? How was the religious affiliation? Or the prophet's experience? Both in the chapter of Saint Moses and Jesus and the prophet Muhammad, message of the visual and experiential areas is the way to God. Entering the miracle section, the fisherman walks on the water and a blind person opens his eyes. In this very dark area, when the interactive screens are touched, the source of the light becomes visible with a soft surface feeling as an eye-opener. With the light sources, the signs of Jesus are depicted. The day of betrayal has been reenacted. According to the Quran, an empty cross signifies that Jesus wasn't crucified. Judah transformed to appear like Jesus, who was crucified instead of Jesus. The cross is empty in the reenactment, and the taking of Jesus is described. Roman soldiers, the moment of being taken, Judas, the Last Supper, the day of the betrayal had been told. You may see as similar to other sections. There is an interactive virtual library. In this specific part, the 4 Gospels are seen in the Christian cross installation. the period of ignorance has been told. Similar to the form of the Kaaba, there is an opposite structure which the vision is inverted and petrified. The presence and worship of idols before the Kaaba was being a center on the trade and traffic route, visited by many transpassers. Following the period of ignorance, elephant case has been told with the visual design. After the time where the elephants phase out, the ceiling is gradually lowered to a height of 1 meter 30 centimeter, bending over to the next wall. Abu Jahil, his men, led by a white elephant man, and Ababil birds, went to the Kaaba with elephants to destroy the Kaaba. Saint Abraham wanted Kaaba to stop them. Our point of view, only children are very naive to bend on anything or anyone. The Islamic time begins with the house in which the Prophet Muhammad was born. The Prophet Muhammad was called Judge because he was the referee throughout his life with a balanced attitude towards all causes. In the interactive area of the Hajar-e-Aswad stone, an immersive experience is created by telling the content of the story. During the Kaaba's reconstruction, an issue came to rise. Who was to place the stone in the cavity? They all wanted the responsibility. All fought for the honor. To initiate a dispute, the tribes made a decision. The first person to enter via Bani Shaiba gate will pick a tribe. All accepted the proposition. The first person to enter was the Prophet Muhammad, and he gave a verdict. He proposed to place the stone at the center of the cloth, and each tribal representative was to hold one corner of it. Everyone accepted the solution and took one edge, carried it to the opening. In this hall, where the life story of our prophet is, and becoming a prophet is seen, the Cave of Hira is where the prophet got his first revelation. Suddenly there was a dazzling light in the cave. The light spreads from all the walls, and the road taken towards the Cave of Hira is visualized. Surah Al-Alaq was the first surah, a message from God. Surah Al-Alaq began to reveal. The hall temperature drops below 16 degrees Celsius, and there is a cold sensation. After the Surah Al-Alaq appears on the walls, the temperature rises suddenly to 23 degrees centigrade, and the hall was felt warm again. The work of art itself comes from the Surah Al-Alaq. The Prophet Muhammad is said to have been presented with his first revelation from Allah through Hazrat Jibreel. One night, when the Prophet was in the Cave of Hira, Hazrat Jibreel visited and asked him to read. He came home shivering. The walkway of the hall, the floors appear icy. An icy figure appears as the Prophet shivering and covering himself. At the exit from here, the ground is ice. The reason why a figure takes form on the ice road is that it tells how the Prophet Muhammad was cold and covered. The mountain Islamic officials dispersed in the directions of the compass and went all over the world and spread Islam. One of the events that the Prophet Muhammad had experienced is told with an anecdote by projection screen. Abu Jahil and his crew are not satisfied with the narration of our Prophet. They tried multiple ways to kill him. Thawr Cave is depicted in a modern way. The visitors inside the cave can see Abu Jahil, spiderweb, and the pigeons. There were many assassination attempts on the Prophet Muhammad. The assassination attempt in the desert has been visualized. While the Prophet Muhammad and his companions were in the desert, there are men from their crew who are chasing them. Those who want to kill him said, "There is a sound," and was desynchronized. The people next to our master, the prophet, said, "We know who you are." The assassins got scared and ran away. Neither the video is synchronized with the sound, nor the sound is synchronized with the imagery. The opposite direction can be seen interactively with the sound. Many assassination attempts are filmed for the screens and the kiosks. With the collapse of the Prophet's camel, the construction of the first mosque and his house, the revival of the area, and the first congregation is screened. The greatest miracle of both Islam and our Prophet is the Quran. In the interactive setup of the museum, the miracle is showcased by the moon. The moon appears in full phase. During the visitor's movement to the right, the moon begins to split into two. There is a mapping application in the ground floor with the explanatory for the children. In the next hall, the battles of Badr, Uhud, and Trench are explained. Narration is done with digital dioramas, ethnographic narrations, graphics, films, and virtual library. The Conquest of Mecca is presented on the transparent curtains. Transparent veils stand in rows as if there were tens of thousands of camel caravans and people behind them. At the end of this corridor, the destruction of idols and the official declaration of Islam are shown. This is the part where the war is won without spilling a single drop of blood. There is a spectrum that gives 7 or 8 colors of light, which ends with the farewell sermon of our Prophet and his death. In our last hall, if desired, visitors can visit the Hodge Training Center. In this hall, there is an area for approximately 1,500 people, where training and seminars can take place. It was designed as a section where information about which surah to read, where to go, or how to read when people want to go to Hajj or Umrah. The person to speak stands in front of the screen in the size of the Kaaba, and the religion of Islam is explained.